Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2139, Stevens versus Stevens.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Although your names sound the same, they're spelled differently, and you are clearly not related based upon this case. You live in the same general area.
Yes.
Okay. Could you step up?
A young woman.
Tell me your name.
Emily Feringer?
This is your daughter.
Yes.
How long have you been living in your house?
8.5 years.
How old are you?
22.
Tell me what you do.
I work at a bakery right now, and I'm a full-time college student.
Where do you go to school?
Idaho State University.
You were out walking the family dog.
Yes.
Family has one dog?
Just one, yeah.
What kind of dog?
It's a miniature schnauzer.
Weighs about 10, 12 pounds?
Yeah, around there, 15-ish.
How old is the dog?
He is 9.
You've had him since he was a puppy.
Yes.
This case has to do with injuries that your dog sustained.
Yes.
And the payment of vet bills by the defendant, who you allege has 2 dogs unleashed that attacked your dog while you were walking.
Correct.
Him.
Just one dog.
One dog.
One.
One dog attacked our dog.
You have a pit bull.
Yes, ma'am.
What color?
White and brown.
How old?
She's 5.
Is that the only dog you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me what date you were walking the dog that this incident happened.
July 26, 2021.
Time.
Around 8 p.m.
Dark?
No.
Still light out.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you walking in the neighborhood?
I was walking down the sidewalk, and I passed the defendant's house, and I reached the end of the sidewalk.
Your dog's name is what?
Jax?
On a leash?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you always walk the dog on a leash?
We do.
Tell me what happened.
I was walking down the sidewalk, and I reached the end of the sidewalk. I was about to cross the street, and...
Do you have a picture or diagram?
I
where
have a
this
diagram.
happened? May I see it, please? Oh, okay. There it is. Would you go over to the diagram so that you can point directly and I can understand where this happened?
A map of the street corner.
I was standing right here, and I noticed the dog come up on my left side.
On your left side?
Yes.
Did you notice from where the dog came?
It seemed to be out in the street when it approached me.
So it didn't come from the defendant's house, it came from the street?
Yes. It had been on the left-hand side of me. And then the pit bull latched onto my dog on its leg.
What color pit bull?
Brown and white.
Was there any fighting or a scuffle before?
No, ma'am. It just ran up to me, and it latched onto my dog's leg, and it picked my dog up and was yanking it around in the air. And it was very loud, and my dog was squealing a lot and crying out very loudly, so I yanked his leash so that I didn't have to bend down and get hurt myself. And I picked him up, and I ran back.
So you yanked him up by his leash?
I did.
Okay. Did he have what kind of a collar on? A regular collar or one of those harnesses?
We have both, so I'm not sure which one he was wearing at that time, but I believe he was wearing the collar.
Just the collar?
Yes.
So you lifted him up by the collar?
Yes.
Did you see where the dog went?
I do not remember. I think the pit bull ran back into the defendant's household.
But you're not sure?
I'm not sure.
What did you do next?
We took the dog to the animal hospital.
Okay. You can go back now.
Emily rejoins Audrey at the plaintiff's table.
Stand close to you.
Sorry.
Had you ever seen this dog before?
I have.
Where had you seen the dog before?
I've seen the pit bull in multiple places around the neighborhood. I've seen it across...
That same dog?
Yes. I've seen it across the street in that across-the-street neighbor's yard, and I've also seen it in my yard, and it's also been next to my chain link fence before.
Did you or you, Ms. Stevens, ever have a conversation with the defendant about the dog being unleashed?
I have not spoken to her at all.
For how long have you seen her unleashed dog out and about?
Probably about 10 times.
Have you ever said anything to your mother about seeing this dog outside?
I have.
Okay. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. May I show you on the
Absolutely.
on the diagram? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. First of all,
No, don't tell me first of all.
Okay.
Were you there at approximately 8 p.m.
Yes, I
on
was.
July 26th?
correct, I was.
Okay, where were you? Show me where you were.
I was right here. I was loading a fridge into my home. I had my dog right here in the middle of the driveway, chained to the fence, okay? She came from across the crosswalk here, because I have a witness as well to show. She came from the crosswalk with her dog in front of her. She came across right into my driveway. The dog went into my driveway, and my dog Went up to her and they began to fight.
You're going like this.
Yes.
You're going like this. I don't want you to go like this.
Okay.
So your dog was on a chain.
Yes, ma'am.
A chain that extended almost to the end of your driveway.
Correct.
So show me exactly with your finger
Okay, yes.
where you say this confrontation between the pit bull and the schnauzer took place.
Right here, ma'am.
Well, you're pointing to about a foot. Well, now you keep moving your finger.
Right here.
Heather points at the end of her driveway. Caption coming up.
You know that I don't believe that your dog hasn't been out and about in the neighborhood, unleashed.
No, ma'am. I don't let my dog off a leash.
We do have pictures of the dog as well, if you'd like to see those.
Oh, do you?
We
Yes.
do.
You mean out and about?
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Audrey, Emily, and Heather.
Audrey Stevens claims her neighbor, Heather Stevens, owes for vet bills after her dog was injured by Heather's pit bull.
Now you're moving your finger. So you're saying it's right at the end of your driveway.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. It was up further 5 seconds ago.
Okay,
Now
my
you
dog was right here,
yeah,
ma'am.
Yeah.
The fight occurred right here.
Well, now your finger is at a different place, madam. I'm
Well-
just letting you know your finger moves up the driveway.
Right, I'd say right here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Heather returns to the defendant's table.
You know that I don't believe that.
I know you don't believe that,
You,
Your Honor, but
you
that's
know,
what happened.
you know that I don't believe that your dog hasn't been out and about in the neighborhood. Do you know that I don't believe that? I don't think she's lying to me that your dog's been out and about in the neighborhood. Unleashed.
No, ma'am. I don't let my dog off a leash.
We do have pictures of the dog as well, if you'd like to see those.
Oh, do you?
We
Yes.
You mean out and about?
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
And this is after.
Shh.
Sorry.
I don't care before or after.
Yeah.
She just said, I don't let my dog go out without a leash.
Well, this is the injury.
Audrey hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She looks at 2 photos of an unleashed pit bull.
Ms. Stevens, these pictures belie the fact that your dog is out, leashed only. Do you want to see the photograph?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Kevin brings the photos to Heather, who reviews them.
Yes, Your Honor, I do see that, but I was outside with my dog at that time.
I don't care whether you were outside with your dog or not. You said your dog is never out without a leash. That's not true. That's not true. Were you a witness to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Be very careful. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
A woman rises.
Tell me your name.
My name is Karen Brennan.
Are you a neighbor?
No, I am a friend
A friend of whose?
of Heather Stevens.
Go ahead.
Well, on that day,
On what date?
on July 26, I was helping Heather with the fridge.
With
And
what?
With the refrigerator. And I was approaching the driveway,
Just a second. You were helping her with the refrigerator doing what?
bringing the dolly out so it can be moved
Bringing the dolly out from where?
from the side of the house.
And?
And I looked over and I saw the little dog and it caught
You
my eye.
saw what?
The little dog. And it caught my eye because every time before, anytime I would put the dog out, Miss Stevens' dog, that little dog, if it was in the backyard, would continually bark at.
Just a second. Did you put the dog out that day?
No, I did not that day. But I recognized
So
the
you
dog.
did not put the dog out
No,
that day?
not that day.
Okay. What time did you get to Miss Stevens' house?
Mid-afternoon.
What's her dog's name?
Lily,
Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon?
when we were,
Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon? That's either a yes or a no. When you were there. That's either a yes or a no. Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon when you were there? You said you got there mid-afternoon. This happened at 8 o'clock. Was the dog chained to the fence all the time you were there? Yes or a no? Or I don't know. No.
no,
Where was the dog?
in the backyard
Until what time?
until around 7-ish or so. I don't know the exact time, but it was mid-evening.
Okay. And what happened at that time when the dog was moved from the backyard outside of the backyard? Who moved the dog?
We went to go get the refrigerator.
No. Who moved the dog?
Heather did.
She took the dog from the backyard.
Yes.
Just a second. To the backyard to the driveway. Just to the driveway, because that's where she pointed out that the dog was chained to the driveway fence.
Yes. When we came back we went to go get the refrigerator.
Just a minute. Well, you didn't tell me, so you left the house.
Yes.
What time did you leave the house?
Mid-afternoon. It was like
What time?
approximately 4 or 5.
Okay. And the dog at that time was where?
With us in the vehicle.
So you had the dog in the car. So the dog was in the backyard.
Yes.
And then from the backyard, the dog went with you in the car.
Correct.
And then what?
And then we picked up the refrigerator, and we came back, and then she had chained her.
Okay. So from the car, the dog went to the fence, which is chained sort of midway up the fence, according to the defendant. Sort of midway up the driveway.
Correct.
Is where she chained the dog.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Then where did you go?
And then I went to go get the dolly and bring it around so we could get the fridge out.
Okay. And where did Miss Stevens stay?
She was in the driveway.
And it was when you were coming out of the backyard that you saw Miss Stevens in the driveway?
Yes.
And saw the little dog?
Yes.
She was in the driveway. Was she next to the dog? Go over there and point out where she was, would you, in the driveway?
Karen points at the driveway.
She was,
She, Miss Stevens,
that was Stevens, yes.
your friend,
Yes.
was right in the middle of the driveway, near where the dog was chained.
Yes.
And show me where the defendant's house is, because you had been in the house earlier that day. Point on that diagram where the house is,
Right here.
where it says defendant.
Yes.
That's the whole house. And where's the front door?
Right here.
Up there. And where's the porch on the front door?
Right there.
Okay. Now, that's not where she was. She was in the driveway.
Correct.
Okay, now go back. Now I'm going to read to you what your friend Miss Stevens wrote and swore to in her answer. I was standing on the porch, maneuvering the fridge inside, and I saw a little dog sniffing around and walking up my driveway. She said she was on the porch.
Well, she was back.
That's where she said she was, on the porch. I know the plaintiff's dog is a barker since it has come to the backside of my property and barked at my dog through the fence. The dog walked all the way up the driveway to where my dog was. Now, you want to think back? Miss Stevens says she was standing on the porch. You were very certain she was standing mid-driveway right near her dog. Which one is it?
Well, we were trying to maneuver the fridge, so we were back and forth.
No. Which one is it? Was she on the porch, which is all the way at the other end?
Yes.
Or was she mid-driveway?
Mid-driveway.
She was mid-driveway. So Miss Stevens lied when she said she was on the porch.
Caption coming up.
I didn't look at a police report. I listened to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I listened to your witness.
Yes.
And you and the witness that you brought told two divergent stories, two totally different stories. She was your witness.
Heather's eyes widen. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Audrey, Emily, Heather, and Karen.
Audrey Stevens is accusing her neighbor, Heather Stevens, of losing control of her pit bull. Heather claims Audrey's dog ran onto her property.
So Miss Stevens lied when she said she was on the porch. That's what she says in her answer. I was on the porch when this happened. You understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
Sit.
Karen sits.
Can I see your vet bills, please?
Your Honor, I have a video of my dog. Can we present the video that I have brought?
You mean for that day?
Yes, ma'am.
For that-
No, not for that day. No, not for that day, but just to show you that my dog is not vicious.
Oh, what?
That she likes to play with little dogs.
Clearly not on this day. She didn't like to play with other dogs.
That dog is constantly barking at my dog in the backyard, and that's the only. My dog loves dogs. I have obedient records.
Miss Stevens.
Yes.
I want you to understand something.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether the schnauzer is a barker or not a barker, I told you, I didn't believe you when you told me that her dog was off leash. I didn't believe that. Either you or your witness lied. I don't know which one. So I'm going to have to assume it was your witness. Do you want me to assume it was your witness or you? So one of you lied. She says you were in a totally different place. She was coming out from the backyard. That's where she was. She had gone to get the dolly. You said you were maneuvering the refrigerator up on the porch.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, who is telling me the truth? You want to tell me?
It was a very hectic day.
It was a very hectic day.
Yeah.
And I have photographs of your dog, despite the fact that you tell me that your dog is never off leash. always on leash. I have 3 photographs taken 3 different times of your dog being off leash. Now, there's no question that your dog caused the injuries to the dog.
This has been going on for over a year in court. They dismissed it in criminal court, and there's a reason why they dismissed it.
Just a second.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
going to try to tell me why they dismissed the case in criminal court? You have a document? I mean, I understand that they filed a criminal case against you.
There was a criminal case that was dismissed, Your Honor.
That's okay. That has nothing to do with this civil proceeding. You know, somebody may not want to put you in jail because you let your pit bull roam around without a leash. Somebody may not want to put you in jail, but you are clearly responsible for this dog's injuries. You are. If you have a pit bull, and pit bulls can be dangerous dogs, they can turn on a dime and cause serious injury. Pit bull lovers, I don't want to hear from you. I've been going through it for 25 years. Some of them are nice. Some of them are not nice. But when they're not nice and they turn, they have configurations that can cause a great deal of injury. One killed a woman who was babysitting for it.
I understand, Your Honor.
So you do understand.
I believe, may I say something? I believe that a dog is how it was raised, okay? I've raised that dog from a baby. She's never been mean like that. That dog that lives next door, which is Miss Stevens' dog, yaps at my dog every single day. She goes outside, yaps, 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 yaps at her.
So what you're telling me is your dog... So if what you're telling me is that your dog had the right to be aggravated because the dog yaps at her all the time, that's not a reason to let any dog, but especially a dog that has potential to cause injury, out without a leash. And you do that regularly, and you can't do that.
Your Honor, can I also add that I did have a brief interaction with Miss Stevens on the day that it occurred, and it seemed like she did come out of the street with the dog. I don't believe she was in the driveway. She offered help for me.
She did?
Yes, before I went home.
And
where was
not
she?
To interrupt, but we also have video of her acknowledging fault with the officer's body cam video.
What is that?
They have a body cam on when he was talking to her when she said she's really sorry and she's going to pay the vet bill.
Oh, may I see that, please?
Body cam footage.
Getting ready to take her for a walk. We were moving in a fridge.
Oh, okay.
And she jumped out of the car when she seen that little dog, because I was getting ready to get in the car and
Gotcha.
right on the corner here.
Okay. So were they just across the street then?
No, they were right here.
They were just right here on the sidewalk. Okay.
I'm going to pay the bill, I know, and whatever I got to do.
Yeah, so she's down at the clinic now.
It was a bite on him, on his shoulder, I think.
On the shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was just protecting me, because
Sure.
that's all. And I'll pay the bill.
That you're responsible
And I want to
for, so-
apologize.
Sure.
I feel bad. I do feel bad about it. I do love dogs. I'm a dog lover. And I do feel bad. And I believe she just said, the defendant just said that she was in the street when that happened. It was in my driveway that happened, Your Honor. I'm just saying, we want to be honest.
Was your dog on a chain?
My dog was on a chain, Your Honor. Another thing, I never got my side of the story added to that at all. It was all one-sided. The whole police report was one-sided, Your Honor.
I didn't look at a police report,
I have
madam.
one right here.
Just a second. I didn't look at a police report. I listened
It's
to
all
your.
one-sided.
I listened to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I listened to your witness.
Yes.
And you and the witness that you brought told 2 divergent stories, 2 totally different stories. She was your witness.
Yes.
Easily confused, but she was your witness. And you should have prepared her better, consistent with what your answer was. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't trying to...
Very, very good. Okay. Pain and suffering, unfortunately, is not yours. If you had had injury to yourself, and I think that the law is a little crazy there, but we can gauge pain and suffering for an animal. Anyway, your vet bills were $435.
Your Honor, we just added that just because,
I understand.
Blatant disregard and the dog's still out all
Oh,
the time.
no, excuse me. The total with tax was $441. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Emily, then Karen and Heather.
It's been a struggle just because of how long it's been going on.
It was a crazy day.
The dog almost got to our dog's leg bone and broke it.
Because the dog is always jumping at my dog.
It was pretty scary.
So it surprised me that that happened.
He was bleeding and everything.
She's not vicious whatsoever.
We ran him up to the hospital.
The animal control never get in my house.
I had a feeling that Judy would see right through her, so.
I love dogs, and I felt sorry for the little dog.
I'm happy about the settlement and how we got our money.
Judy and Sarah.
I'm not even going to get on my soapbox with regard to dogs that are potentially dangerous. There's no question that this lady has a dog that she's had from a puppy, and the dog has never caused her any difficulty. But there's also no question that she lets that dog.
For unpaid wages.
Judge Judy enters the courtroom.
Court come to order. All rise.
She sits at the bench.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2071, Booker Marshall versus Zephyrin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Zephyrin?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Zephyrin, you're being sued by these two people because they say they worked for you delivering packages, I believe, of auto parts. Is that right?
Yes, Judge.
And you didn't pay them. That's simple. You're in the auto parts business or just the delivery business?
Just the delivery business.
For how long?
For about a year.
Explain the business to me, since you're not in the auto parts business, just the delivery business. I have to understand the process and keep it short.
The process is I go to the store, pick up the car parts.
Go to what store?
Hyundai or Toyota.
So you go to the manufacturer?
Yes.
Or the dealership?
The dealership.
And get the part?
And get the part and deliver them.
And you take them to independent garages that fix cars?
Yes.
Okay, now I understand. Your business is you're sort of a middle person between your local auto repair shop and the manufacturer who manufactures those parts or its dealer.
Yes, that's correct.
You don't make a markup on the part, you're just paid for your delivery service. Is that right?
Yes. I do not pay for the parts. All I do is drive and deliver the parts.
So the part has already been ordered and paid for?
Yes.
By the garage, by ABC Garage?
Yes.
They just send you to expedite the delivery?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much do you get paid for each delivery?
Well, it's not by each delivery. At this particular contract, it was between $120 and $160 a day.
And you said that this particular contract, what contract is that?
This is the car parts contract. Before the car parts, delivering the car parts, I was delivering packages.
But this operation was just car parts?
Yes, it was.
Now, at some point, these two people, how many vans do you have that deliver the parts?
Currently, I have one van.
What were they using to deliver the parts?
The van that I have.
And what did you do?
I worked in my 9 to 5.
You had a different job?
Yes.
What kind of job did you have?
I work at the Navy Yard.
So this is sort of a side gig?
A hobby, I would say.
Well, a hobby, $120, $160 a day is a nice hobby.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. And so based upon what you told me before, both of these people did, in fact, deliver parts using your van to various ABC garages.
They also used it for personal use, too, yes.
I don't care, but they used it because you didn't use it. You were doing your day job, according to you.
Yes.
And this was a side gig where these two people were working during the day to deliver the parts.
Mr. Marshall was working during the day.
Okay, let's just say Mr. Marshall.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Marshall sort of contracted with Miss Booker, or did you?
Mr. Marshall did.
You contracted with her. You agreed with her that you would split up this delivery. You would do it a couple of days, and she would do it a couple of days.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so you had no direct agreement with him. Miss Booker, look at me. My question is, did you have a direct agreement or ever meet or discuss salary with the defendant?
No, I did not discuss.
And you can sit down.
Okay.
Because you have to have some sort of an agreement with someone in order to sue them. You had no agreement with him. Whatever agreement you had with him, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
And am I correct, Mr. Marshall, that you were supposed to be paid, according to you, a certain amount per day to make these deliveries? You decided you wanted to work 3 days a week and she would work 2?
Yes,
That's
Judge.
what I thought I read. Okay. How much was the defendant supposed to pay you a day?
$80, Judge.
So you had a deal for between $120 and $160 a day. You were paying him $80. You were working your day job. And Sue, you were either going to get $40 or $80, depending upon the work that was done, right?
Correct.
And you were going to get that as a result of his work.
Yes.
Perfect. Now, this is what you say. You say that you all decided to go into business together. You bought this van. You paid for the insurance. He was going to work and make the deliveries. I'm telling you what you wrote.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, you'll tell me in a minute.
Okay.
He was supposed to work, make the deliveries, and not get paid until you paid off all your expenses, your startup expenses, the van, your insurance. Didn't you say that to me?
Yes, I
Or maybe I'm thinking about another case.
I did say
You
that.
did say that to me.
I just wasn't correct the we, because I bought the van and I paid up all the stuff.
I said you paid. I didn't say he paid. You paid the van. You paid for the insurance. He was going to drive. He says you were supposed to pay him $80 a day to do that because you had a full-time job. You were making your money. Your defense to it is that that was not the agreement. The agreement was that he would work for free until all the expenses were paid off that you advanced for the little business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How much was the van?
$2,000.
So it was an old van.
Yes.
And how many months did you work at this job before you had a kerfuffle with him?
A year and 3 months.
Is that correct, sir, that he worked a year and 3 months?
It seems more about close to a year to me.
And when you say you worked for a year, was that 52 weeks a year?
Yes.
5 days a week?
Yes. Sometimes on Saturday.
From when to when?
I would work depending
No,
on
from what month and year to what month and year?
January 2021 until March or April 2022.
And in that year plus, how much money did you make?
Caption, coming up.
If you kept records of the days that you worked and how many hours you worked and how much you were supposed to be paid, then I could look at that. But I can't do this. This is ridiculous.
Judge, may I explain?
You can try, but you're going to be unsuccessful, Mr. Marshall, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to try.
And later today.
He did, in fact, bring you a truck.
He didn't.
Never brought you a truck.
Never brought me the truck, never returned my money, anything.
Oh.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Marquis, Kai, and Gary.
Marquis Marshall and Kai Booker claim their former employer, Gary Zephyrin, owes for unpaid contractor work.
Okay. In that year plus, how much money did you make?
Judge, it's a tough question because Mr. Zephyrin never paid me what he was supposed to pay me. He always came up with an excuse or a reason why.
I want to know how much money you made in that year.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Well,
Judge.
then I can't help you. I have to know how much money he paid you, and I'm going to figure out from how much money he paid you, because even if I buy his defense, the van was only $2,000. So you have to sit down and figure out how much, unless you know, how much did you pay him?
Around $320 a week.
What do you mean around? I mean, you're a businessman.
He did not work 5 days a week. He's saying he worked 4 to 6 days a week. All he worked was 3 to 5 days a week.
I assume you were paid in cash?
Yes.
But you were paid during that year.
Yes.
Give me an idea in thousands how much you were paid.
Around $20,000.
$20,000.
Yes, Judge.
Around.
Yes, Judge.
So he did, in fact, pay you.
He didn't pay me everything he was supposed to pay me, Judge.
Well, how am I supposed to figure that out, sir? How am I supposed to figure that out? You keep records of what you delivered? Does he keep records? He doesn't have to prove your case. You have to prove your case.
Yes, Judge.
So do you keep records of when you worked and when you were paid?
Yes, I keep records of when I worked, Judge, but I did not keep records of what I was paid because we're always arguing. He never paid me the full $700.
That's not the reason you don't keep records. I'm sorry, Mr. Marshall. If you kept records of the days that you worked and how many hours you worked and how much you were supposed to be paid, then I could look at that. And I can ask him, and I assume he's a businessman. He would have the same records, and there may be a dispute, but I can't do this. This is ridiculous.
Judge, may I explain?
You can try, but you're going to be unsuccessful, Mr. Marshall, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to try.
I appreciate it, Your Honor. Mr. Zephyrin was my friend. We went to the same high school, played on the same high school basketball team. I was the MVP, he was the team captain. Recently, his health has been declining. Because his health has been declining a year ago, I went to Mr. Zephyr and I said, I'm a private contractor and I have different contracts with places. I think that you should do private contracts so you can spend more time with your kids and your wife. I apologize, but I'm emotional.
Well, don't get emotional.
I used to love
Mr. Marshall.
this gentleman.
Mr. Marshall, what I'm telling you is don't get emotional. This is not...
Okay.
It's a sad thing that you know each other for a long time, I hear, and that it's come down to a case in court. But you have to understand that in order for me to make a judgment, I need facts and information. And it's not as if you're saying to me that you delivered packages, which he acknowledges, and you were never paid. What you say is that you were shortchanged.
Yes, Judge.
And you have to be able to show me that.
I have the agreement of Mr. Zephyr agreeing to pay me the $80 a day, and we came out with a pay scale.
Just a second. That's okay. I have to see when you worked and what you were paid. How am I supposed to figure out what it is that he owes you?
Because we both know that he only paid me $300 instead of the $700. We both know that.
Well, he paid you $20,000, so that's not true. According to you, he paid you $20,000. So if what you're saying that he paid you $300 and he owed you $700, is that what you're saying to me?
Yes.
Okay, so it was the last period of time that you worked for him?
Yes.
Okay, so that last period of time was when to when? Give me the month, give me the day.
January to March this year.
From January to March.
Yes, Judge.
Of 2022.
Yes, Judge.
You work and you claim you were owed $700. That's what you just said. Is that correct?
I apologize for the miscommunication, Judge. He only paid me $3 when he was supposed to pay me $7.
Just a second. You're not paying attention to me, sir. I said your claim is that he owed you $700.
He owes me more than $700.
No.
Judge.
What you said was he owed me $700 and he only paid me $300. Could you read that back?
Yes.
Could you read that?
Yes, Judge. You're correct, Judge.
Okay, then we don't have to read it back. That's why I have Whitney. You said he owed me $7, he only paid me $3, which means he owes you $400.
Correct, Judge.
And that was from a January to a March.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Do you have any records of that, sir?
I paid him in cash, so I don't have any records of the payments that I was paying him. Mr. Marshall, he really never wanted me to keep records.
Okay, don't tell me what he wants. It's your business. Don't be foolish, sir. Did you have a dispute with him over this $400?
I did. We had many disputes.
Okay. Did you, in those disputes, refer to a part that got misdelivered by either the plaintiff or the person who he subcontracted with that caused you to lose a customer?
Yes.
Okay. And was that the reason that you didn't give him the $400? Just listen to my question. You had a dispute after all this time over a part, according to your answer, that was misdelivered to a customer.
Yes.
Which caused you, according to you, to lose the customer. I don't know that. But that you indicated was the reason that this arrangement went south. So my question to you is that why you didn't pay him the $400?
No, it's not. He didn't return my van.
Oh, so the reason you didn't pay him the $400 that you acknowledged that you owe him was because he kept your van.
And my contract was canceled due to Cab Booker.
Okay. Did you get your van back?
Yes, I did.
How many days later?
2 days later, after I threatened to call the police.
Okay, you owe him the $400, sir. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $400. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Gary.
You can't keep somebody's van for 48 hours and still expect your money.
He's lying about the fact that we stole the van and that we had it for those 2 days.
I think it was really bad that he's suing me over this. We've been friends since high school.
Document everything that you do when you do it. That would make better sense.
But hey, things happen. He got a new girlfriend and things happen.
Not a difficult situation. If you choose to pay an employee in cash, you have to keep records. Both parties should have kept some sort of records. Otherwise, what they were asking me to do was guess. This defendant actually made it easy for me because without his statement, I would have dismissed the case. He said the reason he kept the $400 because the plaintiff did not return his van right away, kept it for 2 days. Well, that's sort of retaliatory. How do you fix $400 as
cost for keeping
as a cost?
Van.
You know, that's ridiculous. That's self-help. Keep records.
You should.
Especially if you want to come to court.
Exactly.
Case number 2075, Johnson versus McIntosh. All parties, please step forward.
Dominique Johnson is suing her children's uncle, Chris McIntosh, for a truck she never received.
Miss Johnson, this is your brother-in-law. I believe that, is it your husband or is he your ex-husband?
No, it's just my kid's father.
Okay. The father of your children is currently incarcerated?
Yes.
So he's not your brother-in-law, he's just the brother of the father of your children?
Yes.
Okay, you have 2 children?
I have 3.
Is he the uncle of all 3?
Yes.
Okay. There came a time when you were in need of a new vehicle or a different vehicle. Your car was giving you trouble.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh, according to what I've read, has tried to maintain a relationship with his brother's children.
Yes.
Despite the fact that you no longer have a relationship with him.
Yes.
And according to what I'm putting together, you reached out to him or you were on the phone with him and told him you needed another car.
Yes.
And according to you, he said he had a car, a truck.
Yes.
That he would sell you for $2,700.
Yes, that he would personally bring to me.
And he did, in fact, bring you a truck.
He didn't.
Caption, coming up.
So on what date did you buy it?
I don't
think. You know, you're coming to court today. You knew that this was the issue when you came here.
Yeah.
Not yeah, yes.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dominique and Chris.
Dominique Johnson claims her children's uncle, Chris McIntosh, owes for the cost of a truck she never received.
According to you, he said he had a car, a truck.
Yes.
That he would sell you for $2,700.
Yes, that he would personally bring to me.
And he did, in fact, bring you a truck.
He didn't.
Never brought you a truck.
Never brought me the truck, never returned my money, anything.
Oh.
I even tried
Just a second.
Okay.
So you sent him the $2,700.
Yes.
What date?
June 21st of this year.
What happened to her $2,700?
Bought the truck there and then dropped it off.
What truck did you bring there?
2007 Suburban.
And where did you get that truck from?
I got it from an auction.
Okay, I'd like to see the paperwork.
I don't have the paperwork.
Well, that's unfortunate. Why wouldn't you bring the paperwork? It's only a couple of months ago.
Because the auction is every first Thursday. It's not the same person running the same auction. They don't have the same paperwork for the auction.
Well, if you had paperwork, you would have also have had a title for it.
Yeah, and I left it in the glove compartment box.
What's the name of the auction?
Towing.
Where are they located?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Sarah, would you look that up, please? She did send you the money.
Correct.
How did she send it to you?
Cash App.
Yep, which I have proof, Your Honor.
No, there's only one issue. She says that you never brought any truck. You say, well, you bought this truck at an auction. The auction is every Thursday?
Every first Thursday of the month.
First Thursday. So on what date did you buy it?
I don't
think. You know, you're coming to court today. You knew that this was the issue when you came here.
Yeah.
Not yeah, yes. So what date was it that you bought the truck? That you have no paperwork
Thursday.
for at all?
Thursday.
Which Thursday?
What month was that I bought you the truck? I really don't know. Like, I'm being so serious right now, like.
Honestly, if I could speak, it was June 21st. I sent him the money. June 21st was when he was supposed to bring the truck to me. He never bought the truck. Then he stated to me that he sold the truck and that he had another one that was less, and I have that truck as well. This was the first truck initially I was supposed to get.
Did he ever bring you any truck?
No, not at all.
Do you have any phone messages?
I do.
I'd like to see them, please.
And towing. It's a towing and auction house.
Okay, say when they have auctions?
It doesn't list it on their website, but I could try and see.
It's a lot of them, honestly, a lot of messages.
Dominique hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
I have those dates of the auction. They list their past auctions. There was one May 5th of this year, June 5th of this year, July 2nd, August 6th, and September 3rd of this year.
June
all
what?
the most recent. June 5th. And I actually have a list of every car that was included in that June 5th auction. So if you give me the make and model, I could see if it was included in that auction on June 5th.
You went in June for the auction or in July?
Yeah, June 5th.
He said a 2007 Yukon, right?
No, Suburban.
2007 Suburban.
There was actually two different trucks that...
Well, that's the one he said he bought.
The only car from 2007 at the June 5th auction was a 2007 Nissan Murano.
Nissan Murano. It wasn't a Nissan Murano. That was the only one that was sold in June 2007.
It was sold in 2007, but I bought a 07 Tahoe Suburban.
I understand that. But you say you bought it in June, and they list on the website everything that they sold in the June auction. Am I understanding that right, Sarah?
Yes.
They list all the cars that they sold in the June auction. And the only car that they sold that was a 2007 was a Merino. He says, and I will be leaving in about an hour or two after I get the Venmo. Would you please just put where you start to ask for your money back because you didn't get the truck? That's what I want to see. I want my money back because you didn't bring me the truck.
There was no Chevy Tahoe 2007 at the July 2nd auction.
Either.
And a lot of the vehicles, a select few, are above $1,500, and that's for newer models. Everything else is under $950.
Thank you. There was no such car either in June or July.
No.
Okay. That's so interesting that they have that information on a website. Ms. Johnson, you can't just give me your phone and expect me to go through pages. All I want, you said you had something indicating that you told him you wanted your money back because you didn't get a truck. So far, there's no evidence that he bought you a truck from the place that he said he bought you a truck.
Yep, here's the part where I'm asking for the money back. He doesn't have proof that he even bought the truck.
No, there is no proof that he bought the truck.
He never bought the truck. Okay, so starting from here, this is me asking if he wanted to just cash at me back my money because he never showed up.
Read it to me.
Oh, okay. It says, do you want to just cash at me back the whole $2,700 because all this waiting isn't necessary. It's just a few taps to cash at me back my money. We can say forget the whole thing because now this isn't sitting well with me. This was supposed to be easy. I don't have my truck or my money. Like, how does that work? And then I offered to just go down there and get it myself. And then he said that there was no place. I said, okay, but how do I get it home with no place? So this whole time he was kind of dragging me on. And then this is the picture of another truck that he sent me.
That's a picture of him?
Yeah, he's posing in front of the truck, the second truck he supposedly had bought for me.
At the auction, yeah. He just told me he bought the second truck at an auction. There's no indication that that auction house where he said he bought it sold a truck that he said that he bought, either in June or July. Got that right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have to waste any more time. You have no paperwork, Mr. McIntosh, that you bought this truck. You have no proof at all that you brought this phantom truck to her house. Why would she be asking for her money back?
Because I bought her a truck and I dropped it off in front of her house, left her the paperwork saying what's wrong with the truck and the truck. She says that she didn't want it, so I said my finder's fee was only like $400, and that's $200 for just a bus ticket to get there. She can sell the truck and get her money back. That's what I told her.
$2,700, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Chris.
I hope this don't affect the relationship with my nieces and nephew.
I'm not really here to bad talk anybody. I just wanted, my money back.
I left it there with the papers and the receipts.
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
She said she didn't want it. I told her she can sell it back, get her money back.
I feel like he kind of screwed it up in a way.
I just want to be a good uncle all the time.
Sarah.
I love when a website is so meticulous and gives us all.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2057, Hay versus Hill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hay, you're a musician.
I am a songwriter and I sing song. I don't play the instrument, Your Honor.
That's music.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hill, you make music videos.
Yes, I have a video production company.
For how long, sir?
Since 2006.
Do you have employees?
No.
Just you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a place of business?
Yes, I work at my home.
So your place of business
is the residence.
Do you have a studio in the residence?
No, we do not.
Where do you record this music?
Most of the time we do it on location, but I haven't done a music video in almost 10 years.
When you say you have a video business, you haven't done music videos.
Right, yeah.
You have done what kind of videos?
Well, we've done a small film. We have a 3D full-length original animation that we do. We also have a network that we show podcasts on. We have a health and fitness show, and we was working on a reality TV show and an entertainment news show.
I still don't understand how you make a living. Working on, thinking about being in this business myself, that doesn't produce any income. How do you earn a regular income?
Oh, I have a regular 9-to-5 job besides.
Oh, okay, now that's where we go.
Yeah.
So your 9-to-5 job is what?
Right now I'm an insurance agent.
Do you advertise making videos?
Absolutely not. The only reason I did this was as a favor to a friend.
Well, you didn't do it for a favor because you were charging him.
No, the only reason I accepted to do the video was because a friend asked me to meet with him.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But you weren't doing him a favor because you were charging him.
No, I was doing the friend a favor. I wasn't doing him a favor.
No.
Right.
Mr. Hill, if somebody says, listen, I have a friend who wants to make a video. I know you've got a setup in your house where you could do that, or you do it on location. Would you like to be introduced to him? And you say, sure. That doesn't mean you're doing him a favor. So you haven't made a music video in 10 years. You're an insurance agent. And you met with Mr. Hay on what date?
I'm not really sure.
On what date, Mr. Hay?
We met sometime in early April, late March.
Did you have a written contract?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was to make certain videos.
Yes.
I'd like to see the written contract, please. This lawsuit seeks a refund of the money that you gave to him because the entire contract was not fulfilled. That's what the case is about.
That is correct.
Edmund hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Okay, so there is a full and complete agreement. Was this the only agreement there was in writing?
That's the one for that one.
That's the one for what?
For that particular item, there's another one here.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. There's one to produce 3 videos.
That is correct.
Okay. Is there another written contract?
He said this is not a contract.
Well, but I'm asking you, is there another written contract that you're relying on? Because he was supposed to make 3 videos, and the cost of the 3 videos was $1,500?
$3,000.
$3,000. And then there was an additional agreement
for the live performance, of which he demanded $1,500 from me.
Okay.
Okay,
And then
right.
there's,
That's not
just a second.
correct. That's
just
not correct.
Just a second. So it is your claim that in addition to the $3,000, $1,500 of which you paid to him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a subsequent contract afterwards for an additional item. I'd like to see that.
For the live performance on May 1st.
Okay. You wanted to do something live on one of his radio stations. Or...
Mr. Hill?
No, I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Judy reviews a second document.
Okay. Let's deal with the easier one first. Did you receive the $1,500 for this contract?
Yes.
And that was for a live performance on one of your outlets?
Right.
And that was to take place on May 1st?
May 1st.
And did it, in fact, take place?
No.
Did it, in fact, take place?
Not at all.
Well, so then he gets his $1,500 back. That's one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But I'm not asking you anything. There's nothing else that you have to tell me about that, right? You paid him $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't do a live performance. You get your $1,500 back.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, with regard to the 3 videos, you've given him a total now of $3,000?
$1,500, Your Honor.
How much did you pay him on this?
For the videos?
Yes.
I gave him $500 up front to start off on that project. And then that's on the 21st. And then I gave him $1,000 by the 27th, I think, for the 3 videos.
So you gave him.
$1,500.
So you gave him. The 3 videos were supposed to be $3,000, and you gave him $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many videos were produced for you?
1.
Is it accurate that 1 video was produced for Mr. Hay?
Yes.
And it was done on a particular date?
Right.
And you gave him that video?
Yes.
On what date did you give him that video?
It was a week before the 31st.
Did you do any work on the other 2 videos?
No.
Okay. Each video was supposed to cost $1,000.
Yes.
Dollars. And you received 1 video.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid him $1,500 so far as down payment on 3. So you have $1,500 that you believe is coming back to you from that amount of money, in addition to the $1,500 that I've already given you.
No, the $1,500 covered the first video. It wasn't a breakdown like he's trying to make it into 3 videos. No, the $1,500 was the cost, was the full cost for the first video.
Does it say that in here?
Ramsey nods. Edmund shakes his head. Caption coming up.
He's not giving you more money back.
No.
He's not giving you more money that you gave him. Do you understand?
Your
He's
Honor,
giving...
Your Honor, may I say this, please?
You could say whatever you want to say.
And later today.
Well, you have a defense for not paying rent for those 3 months, which you clearly occupied her premises. Who wants to tell me why you didn't pay rent?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Edmund and Ramsey.
Edmund Hay claims videographer Ramsey Hill breached their music video contract.
Kevin, would you please ask Mr. Hill to show me where in this contract, and I may have missed it, that $3,000 was to be paid for 3 videos.
Right.
But the first one cost half. cost $1,500. All I want you to do is to show me in that contract where it says that. If it says that, then Mr. Hay gets back the $1,500 from live music performance.
See, music video production one, $1,500.
Just a second. Can I see it, please?
Kevin brings the document back to Judy, who reviews it.
Yes, it does, Mr. Hay. That's exactly what it says. It says music video, the first production is $1,500.
Okay.
And you got one produced video, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, well,
So,
and you're absolutely right. What?
so the reason why I'm suing him for the extra $1,000, Your Honor, is for the live performance that he didn't perform. I had to hire 2 other persons to
That's not his problem. He didn't perform. He didn't He didn't do the live performance.
No, first of all,
and you're getting your money back. He's not giving you more money back.
No.
He's not giving you more money than you gave him. Do you understand? He's giving.
Your Honor, may I say this, please?
You could say whatever you want to say. He's not paying for you to do another live performance with other people. He didn't perform pursuant to the contract, and you're getting your money back because he didn't perform that contract. With regard to this contract, he performed pursuant to this contract. You get nothing. It's easy.
For the music, correct? For the videos, correct?
For the videos, he produced one, and one was $1,500. That's what this contract says.
The contract is about making 3 videos, Your Honor.
That's all right. If you want to look at it, do you want to see it? Have we shown it to you?
No, I'm asking pertaining to what he says. He says pertaining to just one for the $1,500.
It says it's clear. Music video, #1 production, $1,500.
Number 1, which means there's 2 more need to be done.
Correct, but the first one was, just a second, the first one was $1,500. He could have very easily said, Mr. Hay, production #1, $1,000. Production #2.
He explained that like he just said to me, and he wrote that in words for that purpose.
This is what the court is bound by, sir. Not what he may have explained to you, because you cannot modify in the law a written contract by oral communications between the parties. It's in writing. If you wanted him to write production 1, $1,000, then he would have said, write production 1, that each video was $1,000.
Your Honor,
This is not an argument, sir.
I'm not
This is
arguing,
not an
Your
argument. Good, because that's what it says.
I'm not arguing.
Contract speaks for itself. On the initial contract, he has to give you a refund of $1,500. On this contract, he produced #1 video for which you paid him $1,500. That's what the contract calls for. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Well, it's a fair decision.
There is no breaching of my end on the contract.
It would never have been any money if he'd have kept things on course.
How did I breach the contract when I'm here getting the money for the contract?
I'm not working with anybody like that anymore.
Sarah.
You cannot have an oral modification of a written contract. So I think it's a good lesson for people signing written contracts that if you don't agree or you have a different understanding than something that's listed in the contract, don't let the other person just explain it away in the moment, because as we've seen, that doesn't hold up in court and your rights are going to be really limited to what's in that written agreement. So it's important.
People should know that.
Yeah.
Case 2053, Johnson versus Blue. All parties, please come forward.
Rochelle Johnson is suing her sister-in-law, Monique Blue, and her brother, Antonio Blue, for unpaid rent and window blinds.
Ms. Johnson, the defendant is your brother.
That is correct.
And his co-defendant, your brother's wife. You had a home that was located in what state?
California.
Several years ago, you decided to move out of state, I think to Arizona?
Yes.
And at that time, you discussed with your brother and his wife renting your home. You entered into a lease with them. Was it a 2-year lease?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was a written lease?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of that lease?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
That's a 2-year, and I also have a 6-month.
No,
want the 6. Okay.
Just the first lease first, because I'm old and I can only absorb a certain amount of facts at one time.
Rochelle produces a document, then hands it to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
It's a pretty straightforward lease. It's a lease for 24 months, starting the 1st of July, 2019, and terminating on July 1st, 2021. $1,600 a month rent, there's a small security deposit, and all the other terms and conditions are rather standard. Your complaint says that when you went to the state of Arizona, ultimately you ascertained that your health coverage, your lifetime health coverage, was not covered in the state of Arizona. You decided you wanted to move back to California. You don't even have to give a reason why you want to move back to California. You can move back to California into your house on July 1st, 2021. You understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Great. And you came back to California on what date?
I don't recall the exact date, but I also extended a 6-month.
I understand. When did you come back to California? In March. That's what you said here. I think in March.
Okay, right now I don't recall.
I think in March of 2022 is when you ultimately came back because they vacated sometime the beginning of March.
No. I came back prior to that. I stayed with my son for a year until
the lease was up?
Yes, ma'am.
Your son lives in California?
Yes, Beaumont, California.
Now, I'd like to see the extension of the lease for 6 months.
Rochelle produces another document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so you acknowledge, Mr. and Mrs. Blue, that the 6-month extension that you both signed terminated on December 31st.
Yes.
Did you vacate the house on December 31st?
No, we hadn't found a place yet.
That's not her problem. That would be your problem. Did she give you permission to stay beyond December 31st?
Caption coming up.
On what date, sir, did you close on that property?
I can't remember offhand.
We're not talking about so long ago.
February 7th is listed as the closing date.
That sound familiar? That's what it says.
Yes.
Well, then you had 3 weeks to move in.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Rochelle, Monique, and Antonio.
Rochelle Johnson claims her sister-in-law, Monique Blue, and her brother, Antonio Blue, owe for unpaid rent and window blinds. Monique and Antonio are countersuing for harassment and invasion of privacy.
Okay. Did she give you permission to stay beyond December 31st?
No.
So you stayed beyond December 31st. Were you there in January?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh is not an answer. Yes. Were you there in February?
Yes.
Were you there on March 1st?
Yes.
On March 2nd?
Yes.
On March 3rd?
Yes.
What day in March did you move out?
March 5th.
Did you pay rent in the month of January?
No.
February?
No.
March?
No.
Okay, that's what she's suing for.
Right.
Well, you have a defense for not paying rent for those 3 months, which you clearly occupied her premises. Who wants to tell me why you didn't pay rent?
She told us in the beginning we were supposed to buy the house. We did numerous renovations to our house. We cleaned it up. And when we first moved in July 1st, it wasn't move-in ready.
I don't care. You lived there. Not only did you live there, you executed a second lease for another 6 months. You lived there from the beginning of the lease up until March 5th, which is 3 months beyond when you were supposed to be there. I'm waiting for a defense and not paying rent.
Yes. For July 2019, when we first moved in, the house was hideous. She had stuff in every room. We weren't able to move our stuff in.
Did you live there?
Yes, we had nowhere else to go.
I don't care. You had a choice. If the house wasn't in move-in condition, you break your lease, but you don't say at the end of the lease, by the way, when we were there 2.5 years ago, the house wasn't ready for us to move in. It wasn't in condition that we liked. We lived there anyway. So that's not an excuse for not paying rent at the other end. Anything else?
Yeah. She offered to give us the last month rent that we were there for free.
The last month?
The last month rent. I have the papers.
Well, I'd like to take a look at that, but you owe 3 months.
3 months? We moved off March 5th.
I don't care. You were there March 1st. That's the month.
Okay.
Did you indicate to them that you would give them a month off the rent? Okay.
No, ma'am.
She says that you did. I'd like to see
your evidence as well.
No, just shh.
Monique hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
No, she agreed to waive the final month's rent for the period of April 1st, 2022 to May 2nd, 2022. You were gone in March.
Right.
And your lease, for some reason, she agreed to waive rent for a month that you weren't there. She didn't waive January, February, or March. She agreed to waive it April 1, 2022 to May 2nd, 2022. That's no evidence that she waived any rent.
We moved out in March 5th. Why do we still owe her for March?
Because you were there in March.
Okay.
If she was using the premises as a rental premises and you were leaving at the end of February, then she would have been able to rent her premises beginning March 1st. You don't move out until March 5th, the beginning of March. That means she needs a couple of days, or any landlord would need a couple of days to put the place in order and re-rent it. They wouldn't be able to re-rent until April. So you were there. Is there any reason you stayed until March 5th instead of... Just a second. You didn't let me finish the question. Is there any reason why you didn't move out the last day in February and instead stayed into March?
Because our house wasn't ready yet.
What do you mean it wasn't ready?
We wasn't ready to move in there yet.
What was wrong with it? Where did you move?
Victorville, California.
Okay. To what kind of property?
We bought a house.
Okay. When did you buy the house? What month?
It closed January something.
So you bought the house in January. Mm-hmm. When you inspected the house that you bought, did you buy it furnished or unfurnished?
Unfurnished.
Did you have furniture in the plaintiff's house?
Yes.
You'll give her the address so she can check.
Yes.
Great. Sarah, just look it up for me, please. On what date did you close on that property?
February?
No, don't.
February.
On what date, sir, did you close on that property? It's probably in the record.
I can't remember offhand.
We're not talking about so long ago. Is there an address?
February 7th is listed as the closing date.
2/7. So the house became yours on February 7th. That sound familiar? That's what it says.
Yes.
Well, then you had 3 weeks to move in, to get it ready.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well,
All right. Fine. So you owe her 3 months' rent at $1,600 a month.
What about the renovations we did to our house?
Who cares? I live in a place for a couple of years, and I make changes to the place that I find make it more comfortable. There's nothing in this lease agreement that says that she has to reimburse you for things that she did, and this is not a rent-to-buy agreement. This is a straight tenancy agreement.
We were supposed to buy her house.
There are agreements that are rent-to-buy that list what the rental is and what the ultimate purchase price will be, and whether or not you can deduct the rent that you've paid or a percentage of it from the total purchase price, or whether you cannot. This is a straight rental agreement. So if you made improvements in the house, if you painted it, if you put in new carpeting to make it more comfortable for yourself, you don't get reimbursed for that because there's nothing in your lease that requires her to reimburse you for any improvements that you make in the house. You're bound by the four corners of the contract that you signed.
Well, what about how the conditions that we moved in?
Well,
that she doesn't.
Yes. By living there for 2.5 years, without, I assume, unless you can show me, without, I assume, a written complaint to her. Do you have that? Do you have a written complaint? No. I asked you, sir.
I have pictures.
$4,800. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you. You count the claims dismissed. It's ridiculous.
Outside the courtroom, Rochelle, then Monique.
My mother's deceased, and it would actually hurt my mother to see us in court today. And that's my only regret, that I had to do that.
We're done.
The bottom line is, I am back in my house.
Sarah.
So I had a thought about that case because going through college, I think the first time.
And David Quadra for illegal eviction and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy.
Have a seat, everybody.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2072, Burroughs versus Quadra.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. and Mrs. Quadra, you were living in a home, in a house?
Correct, a townhome.
That you didn't own. And for how long had you been renting that home?
We did not rent out the home.
How long, if you didn't own it, then you were renting it?
We rented it for 2 years, Your Honor.
It gets scarier if you have a fixed position in your head so that you're not listening to my questions. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did your lease start?
July of 2020.
And when was it to terminate?
It was terminated August 1st, 2022.
And it was terminated by an eviction?
Correct.
And you were evicted because the landlord said that you sublet the apartment to these people and their family?
Correct.
And they were people who you knew, both in the military?
Just him.
What do you do?
I'm a federal employee.
And you?
I'm active duty, ma'am.
But you knew each other from work?
Correct.
Where did you move in August?
National City, Your Honor.
How far is that from your prior residence?
It's about 30 miles south, Your Honor.
Are you in a home that you own or that you rent?
We are still renting.
How much are you paying in rent?
$21.50 a month.
You have a signed lease?
We do.
When did that lease start?
August 1st, 2022.
And why did you choose to live in National City?
It is closer to where he is stationed.
It is also the...
Don't speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much closer?
To his job.
To his job.
It went from a 30-minute drive to a 15-minute drive.
Okay, so that's better.
Correct.
You were evicted. You were served a notice of eviction on what date?
They let us know a month before August. They gave us a 30-day notice.
Now, did the plaintiffs have any furniture in the home that you were evicted from?
Prior to us being evicted, yes.
Yes, prior to your being evicted. And what furniture did they have?
2 dressers and a bunk bed.
Anything else?
That's as far as furniture.
And what furniture did you have in there prior to being evicted?
A full living room.
And when did you move that out? On what date?
The 30th of July, 2 days before our moving date.
So you moved out all of your furniture?
Correct.
And how much were you paying in rent in the place from which you were evicted?
$25.95.
Oh, I didn't write that down. How much were you paying in the new place?
The place we are in now, $21.50.
So you're paying less rent?
Correct. It's substantially smaller.
And substantially closer to his place of employment?
Correct.
Good. Now, do you want to tell me your version of how they came to be living in your house?
We received a call one night. It was very late, 10 p.m. Robert was very upset, crying. He had nowhere to go.
He?
Correct. Robert had nowhere to go, and Kelly was asking for a divorce. He asked if he could crash on the couch. We have a toddler at home, so I asked him to sleep in our guest bedroom instead of the couch.
Okay.
He stayed that first original night, and the next day he needed to job hunt as he was jobless. We offered to watch his child. He looked for the job and he came home. He asked us if he could stay for a while in that guest bedroom until he got onto his feet with the job. He offered money to just help out with utilities and
How much?
$1,000.
$1,000 a month?
No, just $1,000. And our words, when he had asked, and we asked him, how long do you think it will take you to get on your feet? It was just a couple weeks.
Okay, so he was offering $1,000.
Correct.
Which was 40% of your rent to stay for 2 weeks, to stay in your guest bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty decent. Did he give you the $1,000?
He did.
And he gave you the $1,000 on what date?
He gave us the $1,000 on May 29th.
And when did he start staying there?
He started staying with us May 21st.
Then what happened?
He stayed with us for about a week. Everything was okay. He job hunted. I helped with the child. Within this week, he...
Look at me.
I'm sorry. He confided in us that he wanted to work on his marriage with Kelly. He did not want the divorce. It was something that she had asked for. They wanted to work on it together and had asked if Kelly could come around to stay with him and the children and work on their marriage.
When he moved into the guest room, did he take the children? Did he have the children with him?
He did, but it was just on certain nights they were sharing.
And then he asked if Kelly could come as well.
Correct.
The wife. And what did you say? Why couldn't he go home?
He could not go home due to their relationship with her parents. Their parents.
Oh, she was living with her parents.
Correct.
And they were both living with her parents.
Correct.
So he said, I can't go home. We want to work on the marriage. Could we come and stay here with you?
Correct.
They have 2 kids?
They have 3.
They have 3 kids. And how many dogs?
4.
4 dogs. So far, you get 4 stars if you let her come.
I wish it would have worked that way.
No. You don't understand that that's where I'm at so far.
Yeah, of course.
So now, May 29th, he gives you the $1,000. She moves in when with the dogs?
So we had a long trip planned to Vegas. We let them know that after we had left, she could come stay while we were gone.
What month? June?
June, correct.
How long were you away?
We were away for 5 to 6 days.
Well, what was he going to do when she came there with the 4 dogs, 3 kids after 6 days? What was the plan?
This was never a plan of, here's a lease agreement you are going to rent from us. It was just I need somewhere to stay. Can they please come for this short period of time until we figure this out?
Great. Okay, now let me hear your version of the events. When you went to stay there with your children, you were having trouble with your wife.
That's incorrect.
Incorrect.
Caption coming up.
What I said was, because I believe her. I believe that you called her and said exactly what she said. She told me. I mean, I don't have to have Whitney read it back. I believe that that's what you said. So I don't want to hear baloney about school districts. You were having trouble with your wife.
And later today.
You can't have it both ways.
It's a complicated case.
It's not complicated. It's very simple. You didn't have a written contract. If you had an oral contract, that's one thing.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kelly, Robert, Marina, and David.
Kelly and Robert Burrows claim their former friends, Marina and David Quadra, owe for an illegal eviction. Marina and David are countersuing, saying Kelly and Robert caused them to be evicted.
So when you went to their house and you wanted to work on your marriage, you could have gone back to your in-laws.
Yes, that's correct.
You could have. Why didn't you?
The reason why we decided to split up was because we're trying to keep our kids in the same school district. So with having 4 dogs, that's impossible to keep in an HOA. So she decided to go with her parents. I decided to stay back to finish the school year with the kids, still being in May, so they can finish in the same school district. That's why I decided I needed a mailing address so that they could stay in the same school district.
So you mean this discussion that she just said to me about you having problems, marital problems with your wife, that never happened?
Irrelevant. It's just...
No, that's not what I said. What I said was, because I believe her. I believe that that's what happened. I believe that you called her and said exactly what she said. She told me. I mean, I don't have to have Whitney read it back. I believe that that's what you said. So I don't want to hear baloney about school districts. You were having trouble with your wife.
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
And you didn't tell her that.
We had been moved out of our old place of 6 years in El Cajon, and we were trying for 6 months to find a new place. So yes, it does put a lot of stress on a relationship, but we did not have any marital...
Mr. Burrows, you know what my strong suit is, and there's no question that the cameras just caught your face. My strong suit is being able to spot a lie from a mile away. And I'm telling you that there's no question that you called her late at night and said, I'm having trouble with my wife. She asked me for a divorce. Can I come and stay with you? There's no question that whether it was true or not, I don't know, because clearly you're a liar. So maybe it wasn't true, but that's what you told her.
Your Honor, may I speak?
You want me to call your parents?
Please do.
Would you like me to call your parents? I'm just asking you, would you like me to call your parents?
No.
Of course not. That's an easy thing for me to do.
Part of what was going on was that we lived in our home for 6 years, and the homeowners had moved back in, and so they asked us to leave, and we had been actively searching for a home. So yes, it did put a bit of a strain on our marriage, and I took my dogs with me so that I can keep my operating business at my parents' house, because I am a dog boarder, dog sitter, and I did not want to shut my business down. And during this time, tensions, little things happening at my parents' house. So I said, you need to go see if you can rent a room or find somebody that can help you in the meantime till we can actively keep searching for a place for our family. We tried 5 different homes and we didn't.
I don't care. What I said to your husband was he lied to me. Because there's no question that he called, and whether it was true or not, that he said to your friends, I need a place to go. Do you have a place that I could stay on the couch? There's no question he said that to her.
That is true. Yes, that is true.
Okay. Well, then I want you to introduce your husband to the truth.
Is it true?
It's something that he hasn't met, because that's not what he told me what happened.
Correct.
So that was a mistake of his. That was a mistake. And you know what happens when you lied to me once? Your case is dismissed. Because what you're suing for is being evicted, and you go, blah, 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 emotional distress. You lie to me once, your case is dismissed. Now, we're going to come over here. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is money owed for property damage.
Correct.
And for damages for eviction, because what happened was your landlord evicted you because she comes with her 4 dogs, 3 gerbils, 2 parakeets to your house, and the owner of your condo doesn't want her any more than the owner of their last condo.
Of course.
Didn't want them. Got to save your money, buy your own house so you can have as many dogs and parakeets as you like. You moved into a place that's nicer?
Absolutely not.
Tell me what the papers said when your landlord notified you of the eviction. Do you have them?
We do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Yes, no problem.
Marina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
There was also in that piece of paper a $250 fine through our HOA from the whole commotion that he caused the day of asking them to leave.
Just a second, you were a month-to-month tenant?
Correct.
You didn't have a lease for 2 years. You were a month-to-month tenant.
We had a year lease, and then when the year was up, we moved month to month.
They didn't evict you?
No, they just gave us, they asked us
Just a second. Your lawsuit is for damages, punitive damages for an eviction. You weren't evicted.
Well, we were asked to leave if we...
No, they just decided not to renew your month-to-month lease.
Due to the...
I don't care what it was due to. Listen, if I owned a property and you let 3 kids, 4 dogs, moved into my condo for 6 days, I wouldn't renew your lease on a month-to-month basis either. I don't care whether they were there for 2 days, 4 days, a week, or a month. You understand?
Understood.
Okay, so there was no eviction. So the punitive damages for that, forget it. Money owed for property damage. When they moved out, what did they damage? And how much did it cost you?
There was a hole in the molding from moving the dressers down our stairs. They bonked it, bringing it out angrily because they were mad that we asked them to leave. We have the letters from our landlord stating everything that they had to deduct from our deposit.
Just a second, a hole in the wall. And how much was the hole in the wall?
The molding was...
No, just look at the paper and tell me how much was the hole in the wall.
The painting was $180 and the molding repair was $200.
Now, did you damage the molding when you were moving a dresser out of the house?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, not that you're aware of. You want to try the truth now? Was there a hole that you created moving a dresser out of the house?
When David and I were moving our dresser over the stairs, down the stairs.
Who's David?
The defendant.
So you were moving out the dresser with him? Careful, introducing you to the truth. Did you move the dresser with him?
I did help move the furniture
Your
out.
case is dismissed. The counterclaim likewise is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
David, then Kelly.
I take it as a win. The initial suit was them against us. Their suit got dismissed.
We lost a lot of things and a lot of wages.
That was just us being good friends. We definitely learned our lesson. We will never help another crying husband on our doorstep claiming divorce again.
People that are offering to be nice to you in times of need don't charge you.
They kind of cried, oh, marriage and divorce the whole time, knowing that we're young and married. It's something we take seriously in our lives.
And we're still trying to build our lives back.
Judy and Sarah.
I should actually make a party to introduce all those people to Mr. Truth.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mismatch. Doesn't make sense. If you're going to stay with a friend for a few days, you don't bring a bunk bed and 2 dressers.
No.
I've stayed with friends for a couple days, long weekend. You bring a bag with some clothes.
Even with your kids.
Yeah, you don't bring furniture. You don't bring any of that. So there's a lot of discrepancies.
Things that didn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true.
Agreed.
Case 2041, Dion versus Everson. All parties, please step forward.
Caitlin Dion claims her former employer, Scott Everson, breached their contract to buy her baby shoe business.
All right, what looks to be a complicated case actually is merely just a contract case. Miss Dion, you had a side business of making baby shoes, and I assume that those are the baby shoes.
Yes, it was a full-time business.
The defendants had a children's clothing website, and they became familiar with your baby shoes, and they were interested in buying your business. You entered into a contract wherein I believe that they agreed to pay you $30,000 for the business. Is that correct?
That was the asking price. There was never a written contract signed.
That's incorrect.
Just a second. You entered into a deal for $30,000 and an employment contract without a written contract?
I have the written contract here, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah. I would say goodbye to you all if there wasn't a written contract.
There was a draft of a contract, the terms of which changed numerous times over the 2 years.
You can't change a written contract. Was it a written contract that was signed by both parties?
No, it was never
He
signed.
refused to sign it, even though he was the one that wrote it himself and emailed it to me himself.
Caption coming up.
You called him within the period that you were supposed to be working for him and said, this is too much for me, I can't do it. I read your complaint. Do you understand? That's a breach of your contract, if there ever was a contract.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Caitlin and Scott.
Caitlin Dion claims her former employer, Scott Everson, breached their contract to buy her baby shoe business.
Well, then there was never a meeting of the minds. May I see that? This is going to be a much easier case than I thought.
That's also incorrect. I have
Just
audio.
Just a second. This is going to be a much easier case than I thought.
That's the latest draft of an agreement of which there were several drafts prior to that.
Listen to me, sir. It doesn't make any difference to me. She's suing you because you paid her pursuant, I assume, under this non-contract, according to you, $31,000. That was both for a piece of her business and for her staying on for a period of, I don't know, 4 months, 6 months?
That was never agreed to.
Neither was the $30,000. Do you understand? You can't have it both ways,
It's a
Ms. Dion.
complicated case.
It's not complicated. It's very simple. You didn't have a written contract. If you had an oral contract, that's one thing.
I do have that, actually. I have audio that we can play right now telling him that he promises to pay me $30,000 regardless of how long I worked for him.
Just a second. The original deal that you had was for $30,000.
There was actually an original deal that was much more than the contract he took months to change to sign.
There's no question that under the terms of what you both thought was reasonable, you agreed to accept $30,000 from him for the business, and you would stay with the business for a period of time, either 4 months or 6 months. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but that is totally reasonable because he wasn't in the baby shoes business. According to your complaint, you were going through some marital difficulty, you were going through other major problems, and you called him within the period that you were supposed to be working for him and said, this is too much for me, I can't do it. I read your complaint. Do you understand? That's a breach of your contract, if there ever was a contract. That was, listen to me carefully.
Look in the contract, it says that he would take away $400 per week that I did not work for him.
This is not, listen to me, Ms. Dion, listen to me very carefully. This is an unsigned contract.
Why didn't you send it to me then?
Just a second. He gave you $31,000.
He did not. He gave me $5,000.
Just a second. He says he gave you over the period of time $30,000. Did you give her?
I have to.
Just a second.
In the period of time that we've known Ms. Dion and worked with her, I've given her $31,668.
I have proof that says otherwise.
I'd like to see it.
Here are my hourly
No, not.
Those are paycheck stubs, of which of the $31,000 she received,
that were not
$10,000
part of the business purchase price.
Listen.
No, you're right. That was pay stubs.
I have to explain something to you. There was no written contract and clearly no meeting of the minds based upon what you both told me today.
What was I supposed to do? I signed the contract and gave it back to him.
Then you should have done nothing. If he didn't sign it, you should have done nothing.
I was a single mother at the time.
Ms. Dion, you have to understand, this is a court.
He had all of my assets.
This is a court. It's not Dr. Phil. You had no written contract, and if you had no written contract, you had to have an oral contract.
I do.
No, then you had to have an oral contract, and that oral contract clearly did not reflect a meeting of the minds of both of you. If he didn't sign this contract, and whether it was for your business or for your employment, are you saying to me that you did not receive from him? I'm just curious, because he has the documentation to show me that you did not receive from him $31,000.
I have documentation. Sorry, I thought that was a question you asked.
That was a question that you did not receive from him. I don't care if it was the business or as a worker, that you did not receive from him during a period of time $31,000.
I did not. That's incorrect. I have my paychecks. I have the down payment that he made. I have the installments that he made.
Just a second.
All of which add up to $31,000.
Just a second. Add them up, and I asked you a question. How much was it? Your paychecks and the down payment he made on your business. How much was it? I want to know if it was he said it was $31,000.
He paid me $16,666 for my business. My paychecks do not matter. They were not a part of the business agreement.
Did you file your case in small claims?
That is not a part of my business.
Did you file your case in small claims court?
Yes. Working hourly was not a part of the contract.
Pay careful attention to me. If you filed your case in small claims court, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go back there. If you think you have a case, I do not. I do not believe that there was a meeting of the minds when there's a contract unsigned for over $10,000. That's absolutely ludicrous. As long as I'm comfortable with the fact that you got paid during a period of time $30,000 so that you worked and you got paid. The contract for the sale of the business, as far as I'm concerned, was never consummated. I'm going to let you go try to explain your position.
Former friend Alexandria Allen for a washer and dryer.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2043, Pelletier versus Allen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This young lady is a friend of yours.
A former friend, correct.
How friend?
I met her from another mutual friend that I had, and we just formed a relationship together, just a friendship.
Are you married?
I'm not. I'm single.
Any kids?
No.
And what about the defendant?
She does have 2 kids, and she is married.
Currently?
Yes, currently married.
Are you also friendly with her husband?
Yeah, just friends. We were, yeah, before all this took place.
So that all of you were friends?
Yes, at one point, yes.
Case is relatively simple. Miss Allen's washer and dryer stopped working.
Correct.
You had done some odds and ends things for her in the past.
Yes, worked on her car and stuff.
And did you find or did she find the used washer and dryer?
She asked me for recommendations and she found it on the selling app for used items.
So you told her where she might look for it?
Correct.
And she found it on an app online?
Correct.
Okay.
No,
Now,
actually.
Look at me.
Okay. He made the recommendation to me.
Did you go on the app yourself?
No, I did not.
So you never saw the washer and dryer?
Well,
Is that what you're... Just a second. So what you're saying, I just want to be clear. So I said, if you didn't go on the site, then you never saw the washer and dryer.
May I speak now?
Either you did go on the site and see it, or I didn't go on the site. I didn't see it.
He sent the picture of them to me, just a screenshot. That's all I got.
Okay. How old are you?
32.
You have 2 children?
Yes.
Did the screenshot show you where they came from?
I have a photo of them, and it doesn't say anything.
So is what you're telling me you didn't know where they came from?
Well, there is a name of the site. Would you like to know that?
I want to know if you knew it.
Yes, I know.
All right. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. You knew the site where the photo came from. So let's say you are correct, and I don't know. You said you needed a washer and dryer. You say he found the washer and dryer on a site, sent a photo to you and said, is this what you're looking for?
Correct.
Right? And on that screenshot was the site.
Right.
So you had at least access to the same site that he did.
That's correct.
And did the site give you the name of the person or persons to contact with regard to the washer dryer?
There was no one's name, just a phone number.
Did you call a phone number?
I didn't call them.
Who called them?
Mr. Pelletier.
Now, Mr. Pelletier didn't call them unless you said they look fine.
Well, I did say they looked fine.
Well, what else did you say?
Based on the picture, they looked...
Just a second. Just answer my question.
Okay.
Because what happened here is really relatively simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether you're a simple person, but it's relatively simple. You had a friend. You told him I needed a washer and dryer. Mine broke down. He said, this is a great site. According to you, I'll look up, and he looked up the washer and dryer, and you did nothing. You, who needed the washer and dryer, you must work very hard. How many jobs do you have?
I have a couple of jobs. My children are a big job, for one. And 2, I am a full-time university student, so I am busy.
So you should be able to get a washer and dryer by yourself. You farmed that job out to him.
I did because he volunteered to help.
Doesn't matter. He didn't volunteer to help unless you told him, I need help. I mean, as what it is, are you using him? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't.
I'm not sure. Okay. What do you do for him?
I watched his cats. When he went out on a vacation with his grandmother, and I took care of his cats free of charge because, well,
for how long?
I didn't expect him to be gone that long either. It was over a week, and I had to buy the cats food.
So, just a second. So you watched his cats?
Yes.
And is what you believed that him taking care of getting this washing machine payment for taking care of the cats?
Well, not just that. There's other things that happened while he was installing the washer and dryer.
I don't care about things that... What I'm asking you is I'm trying to figure out what kind of person says to a friend, I need a washer and dryer. He says, as a friend, I'll see if I can help you. You have time. You also go on the computer and figure it out. Being a full-time student is nice. That's what you chose. Somehow, you also support yourself and your 2 children. I don't even want to go into how that's done. However, you said, go get the washer and dryer. And he went, how long?
It's 50 miles from my house, an hour and 45 minutes.
Each way to pick up the washer and dryer that you authorized him to get. You said, go get it. It was $1,800.
Correct. And she offered $200 tip for the delivery of that.
For you?
Mm-hmm, correct. Okay. And I have text of
That's
that.
reasonable because you spent 3.5 hours in the car. Now, do they live on the 1st floor?
The 3rd floor.
3rd floor. Is it a walk up?
Yeah, it's stairway up to the 3rd floor.
So somebody had to go up and take the old washer dryer out. So, Miss Allen, was that you or your husband?
Mr. Pelletier also removed them.
No, you can move your mouth. It's okay if you move. It's okay if you move your mouth.
Alexandria smirks. Caption coming up.
I feel like I was being very kind because I didn't decide to sue him for his cat or the damages he did to the cows.
I'm telling you,
cats.
I don't know what your excuse is.
I feel like
I don't care what you feel like. I don't care what you feel like.
And later today.
When we went to transfer the title over together at the DMV, I had to pay off whatever tolls that I had. So between that time and the time where he ended up taking the car back, I don't really know how there was $600 worth of tolls.
I don't know either, but that's what I'm going to find out.
A woman shrugs. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Hunter and Alexandria.
Hunter Pelletier claims his former friend, Alexandria Allen, is responsible for the cost of a washer and dryer.
The plaintiff walked up the 3 flights of steps, carried each of the washer and dryers downstairs, took the washer and dryers from downstairs up the 3 flights, got them installed, and you didn't like them. They were a different color.
And they're busted up. They don't even work properly.
Okay. Miss Allen, when did this happen? In what month?
January 7th of 2022.
You have receipts for different washers and dryers that you purchased since January of 2022?
I do not have the receipts, no.
That means that you didn't purchase them.
Well, I never paid him for them.
No. That means that you never purchased new ones. That means that you're still using the ones he bought.
Correct. But
right.
It not work well.
Just you bought used washer and dryer. You've been using them January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 8 months, and you're still using them. And you neither paid for them, nor did you pay him for delivery. And I don't know what your excuse is.
I feel like
I don't care what you feel like. I don't care what you feel like. You made a contract with him to go and pick up washers and dryers, disconnect yours, take them out of your house, install these, lay out the money to pay for these, use them for 8 months, and not pay them because you weren't happy with them.
I feel like I was being very kind because I didn't decide to sue him for his cat or the damages he did to the cows.
I'm telling you, you should stay in school. How much did you pay for the washer and dryer?
$1,800, and I took the money out of the bank. She had asked me because her ATM has a low limit, so I went into the branch of my own bank.
That's what you're suing for $1,800?
Yeah, I wanted to get the $200 if possible, but at this point, I just want the money for the machines.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. $1,800.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Alexandria.
It damaged the walls of my apartment. They banged it up.
She saw right through everything, the damages, she said.
The machines were overpriced.
None of that happened from me. I'm not a professional installer.
I don't think he cared because it wasn't his money.
At the time, they were less than 6 months old from original purchase date, so they were still worth the money that they were asking.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to be friends anymore.
I don't need friends like that, no.
Sarah and Judy.
So this case touched a little upon agency, like an agent-principal relationship, where here the plaintiff was actively acting as her agent by going and picking up these washing machines for her. They had communications beforehand about this is what they look like, this is what they cost, I'll do it for you for $200. Is this what you want to do? She says yes. You don't get to just then back out of it because you don't like the color. You knew what they looked like. You knew they were used. There was no bait and switch. I was almost waiting for an explanation, for a bait and switch, he put the nice ones in his house and then gave me not so nice ones. But there was nothing. There was very rarely do we see no excuse for.
And she's using them.
Yeah, still for almost a year.
They're all banged up. They were all banged up. Well, that's what happens when you buy something that's used. Mm-hmm. When you buy something over the internet, which is really what she did, she could have just as easily said to him, before you load them in the truck, please take pictures of them so that I see them.
Yes, she could have.
So she could have. Did nothing.
That's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Yeah.
Also allowed him to take the other stuff down, put the other stuff up, and then say, well, they were banged up.
$200 to move 4 heavy machines is a low price as far as I'm concerned.
Not a friend anymore.
Yeah.
Case number 2017. Alvarez versus Coover. All parties, please step forward.
Avery Alvarez is suing his former friend, Brianna Coover, for toll charges.
Mr. Alvarez, this is not a very difficult case. It's a question of dates. You bought a new car.
Yes, ma'am.
You knew the defendant somehow through her boyfriend or?
He's my cousin.
Okay, so you purchased a new car. You had an older car that you were still paying off. And Miss Culver needed a car, and you made an arrangement with her where she would take over the monthly payments on your old car so that you would just be paying your new car. And when she finished making the payments on the car would be hers.
That's correct.
You did, in fact, conclude that agreement, and Miss Coover did, in fact, pay off the car.
Yes, ma'am.
She paid off the car. However, she did not register the car in her name.
That's correct.
And you had your plates on the car, and it is your claim that while the car was in her possession, she racked up $600 and some odd in toll fees.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is what you're suing for.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Culver said that didn't happen. She had her own Easy Pass, toll pass, whatever it is. And there was no way that those tickets were incurred while she was in possession of the car. And additionally, she's got some very sad story. She paid off the car. She didn't register it for some reason. She didn't register it, which I don't have to get into. You took the car back because you were afraid that your plates were on the car, and you started to get these dunning notices for tickets. Then you had to give the car back because you had given her the title to the car when she finished paying off the car, despite the fact she hadn't registered it. And then you took the license plates back, which is a very smart thing to do, because then she couldn't use them to get through the tolls. And because you took the plates off and she didn't register it and get new plates, it was towed from her parking space at her condo, taken to a lot where she didn't have enough money to get the car out, and the car was auctioned off, and now she has no car. And you have $600 worth of tickets in your name.
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
Is that it?
That is a version of the story, yes.
Well, I will let you tell me a different version.
Everything is true thus far. We did have the agreement where he wanted a new car, I needed a car.
No, I got that. I just want to know what I said that was incorrect. I just made it shorter.
Just to clarify, when we went to transfer the title over together at the DMV, I had to pay off whatever tolls that I had before they're able to transfer the title over. So that was done. So between that time and the time where he ended up taking the car back, I don't really know how there was $600 worth of tolls.
I don't know either. That's what I'm going to find out. But is there any part of the story that I just told that was inaccurate?
Brianna hesitates. Caption coming up.
He transferred over the car to you. You had possession of the car. He didn't.
Correct.
Other than you who drove the car. Come on, that's a question. And other than you who drove the car.
Nobody.
No. Who drove your car?
Judy glares at Brianna. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Avrian and Brianna.
Avrian Alvarez claims his former friend, Brianna Coover, owes for toll charges. Brianna says she already paid for the toll charges.
He says that you had possession of the car. He got notification that there were tickets. You say that you didn't go through tolls. He said, I didn't have possession of the car. Is there anything that is incorrect about that? So it's just a question of dates. It's not a difficult case. It's a question of dates.
Correct.
Okay, so give me the date that you made this arrangement to pay off the car.
I don't know the exact date.
She took over the car payments starting July 2019.
And when was it paid off?
May 16th, 2021.
When it was paid off, did you sign the title over to her and the lien holder did?
Going back and forth at that time, I was trying to get her to come over to where I live so we could go to get the car transferred. We ultimately settled on a date, and then the DMV over there said that she had to have a sheriff verify the VIN and the odometer before we could transfer it over. I guess it's a rule in the county. So at that moment, then yes, we signed it over to her so she could do it at her local DMV.
And that was on what date?
That was July 9th.
Now, between July of 2018 and July of 2021, did you ever drive that car?
No, ma'am.
When did you initially take the car back from her?
I took the car back September 11th of 2021.
And how long did you have the car when you took it back because of these tickets?
I texted her on September 15th and told her that she could go pick the car up because I had found out that I
couldn't do that.
Exactly.
It was self-help for that.
Correct.
Okay, so you had the car between September 11th and September 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than that period of time, did you ever drive the car from July 18th until the present time?
No, ma'am.
So if there were any tickets that were accrued, it was either by the defendant or somebody who drove the car with defendant's permission?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the dates of the tickets.
Avrian flips through a pile of documents.
Ms. Coover, you don't question the fact that between July 2018 and today's date, with the exception of between September 11th and the 15th of 2021, he did not have possession of the car.
Correct. The only reason that when we transferred the title over, we had an agreement.
Just a second. That's all I asked you. This is not a conversation. I just want to know who got the tickets. Whoever got the tickets is responsible for them. So he only had the car, so if there are any tickets there that were between September 11th and September 15th in 2021, they belong to him. Any other tickets from 2018 July until infinity are yours.
Brianna nods. Kevin hands Avrian's documents to Judy, who reviews them.
Well, we have invoice date is 7/28/21. That would be you.
Correct.
June 30th, 2021, 7/1/2021, 7/2/2021, again 7/2, 7/3, 7/6, 7/6, 7/7, 7/8, 7/8, 7/22, and 7/28 of 2021. Those are all you.
Correct.
August 28th, 2021. That would be you.
Yes.
3, 3, 6, 9, 19, 28 of 2021. August. That all would be you.
Yes. I never argued that that wasn't me. I'm just, from the moment that we officially transferred the title over, we were not able to transfer the title over until I paid.
Oh, just show, you paid these?
And we were together.
Just a second. Show me that you paid them.
I have this receipt.
Just show me that you paid them, that's it.
Brianna hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
And that would have been what was due at the time when we transferred the title over.
I'm just going by the dates of the tickets, madam. I don't care how the government screws up. That's not my problem. Okay, show me your payment. May I see it, please?
Judy reviews Brianna's phone.
It should say the date there and the cost of those tolls on the day.
This is your SunPass. You replenished your SunPass.
That's a payment to SunPass.
For $154.
And that's what it was on the day that we transferred the title over. So my thing is, from the day that we transferred the title over to the day that he came to my parents' house and took the car, there was no way that I racked up $600 in tolls.
I don't know whether you did or didn't. Then take that up with Department of Motor Vehicles. That's what they say you racked up between that period of time. He didn't have possession of the car. You had possession of the car from the time he transferred over the car to you. You had possession of the car. He didn't.
Correct.
Well, other than you who drove the car. Come on, that's a question. And other than you who drove the car.
Nobody.
No. He never drove your car.
No.
Who drove your car?
I did.
Who else?
Nobody.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $654. We're finished here. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Avrian, then Brianna.
Quick and simple case. She did what she needed to do.
I can't really say I'm super surprised, I guess.
I was just asking for payment on the tolls and I wasn't getting any responses.
I don't know how in literally 3 months I didn't rack up $600 in tolls.
It is what it is.
He was okay with me continuing to use his...
Take my license plate with me.
license plate until one day he wasn't, and then...
for vet bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Bailiff Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2064, Singleton versus Free.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Singleton, your case is relatively simple. It is your claim that the defendant's unleashed dog bit your dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And you incurred vet bills, and you want Mr. Free to be responsible for them.
That's correct.
Mr. Free says that it's true that his dog did bite yours on, I think, on the leg.
Yes, ma'am.
But that your dog was on his property and your dog was the aggressor. That's your position.
Correct.
Okay. And you were walking two dogs.
Two dogs and my nephew.
Nephew was a baby.
Yes, he was 3 years old, and my dog was 3, and the large dog that was bit, he was 12 at the time.
So you have a small rat terrier,
Yes.
I think. And your larger dog is what kind of dog?
A Siberian Husky.
And what kind of dog do you have, sir?
I have a Italian Mastiff, Cane Corso.
That's a big dog.
At the time, he was about maybe 12 months old, so maybe a little bit over a year. So he's bigger now, but yeah.
How much did he weigh?
At that time, probably about 80 pounds.
Tell me about your property, sir. You have
Well,
a
we
photograph of your property?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. Here's a couple of them here.
Defendant Kevin produces a photo.
Miss Singleton, this incident happened when?
Christmas Day of last year, around 12:30, right before we had Christmas lunch.
Weather was okay?
Oh, it was great.
And how close do you live to Mr. Free?
I don't live anywhere near him. I actually live in Stone Mountain, but I was going to my parents' house for Christmas, so we were walking around the neighborhood. He lives almost directly behind my parents' house.
And I see that while there are driveways here, the front lawn extends all the way to the street. Is that right?
Yes.
And you were walking both your dogs, and were they leashed or unleashed?
They were leashed.
Both?
Yes, they were both leashed.
And Mr. Free, you sort of acknowledged that both of her dogs were on leashes.
I've only seen one dog. I didn't see two dogs, and I didn't see a child either. It was her and a dog, so.
The dog that you saw, what kind of dog was that?
It looked like a husky. Looked kind of like a wolf, so I'm not sure.
So just a second. So you saw a husky.
Correct.
Did you see the plaintiff?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you one more time.
Okay.
Was the husky on a leash?
I guess, yes, I guess.
The answer is either yes or no.
I'm not sure. I wasn't,
okay, well,
I wasn't
if you're
looking at
not
the
sure,
leash.
she says the husky was on a leash.
Yeah, so I'm not going to deny her dog was
Okay. And your dog at the time was on your property unleashed.
My dog was on my property, period.
Your dog, pay careful attention. Your dog was on your property unleashed.
Correct.
At 12:30 on Christmas Day, what were you doing?
I was putting up a basketball goal I had just bought for my children for Christmas in the front yard with my dog next to me.
Okay. What I want you to do is this a picture of your house?
That's a picture of my house from the other side of the street, correct?
That's fine. This is a picture of your house.
Yes, it is.
The answer is yes. Kevin, what I'd like you to do is take this photograph to Mr. Free. I want him to take a Sharpie. Do we have a Sharpie? Something. Okay.
I have a pen.
You have a pen?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell him to make a circle where he was and an X where he saw for the first time Miss Singleton and her dog. X where you were, just where you were. You personally.
Defendant Kevin marks the photo.
Okay.
And put a circle the place where you saw Miss Singleton for the first time.
He marks the photo again.
Okay.
Bailiff Kevin brings the photo to Judy, who reviews it.
So you were in the front yard.
Correct.
And that looks about 30 feet away from where you saw Miss Singleton for the first time.
If that.
From here to here.
I'll say about 20 feet. You know. It's not as big as it looks on that picture. It's a pretty small yard.
I would say it's about 30 feet from where you put the X. It's all the way past the house. You're at the one side of the driveway. You have an entranceway to your house.
Correct.
And then you have, is this front a living room?
Yes, it is.
A living room, which is past that. And where you made a circle, which is a very large circle, is probably 10 feet away from the edge of the house.
Yes, that's where I know.
So I said it's about 30 feet away.
Okay.
And now I want you to put, can I have your pink Sharpie, please? Yes. Thank you very much. I want you to use this and put in this picture where your dog was at 12:30.
To get your understanding, you want
12:30. I want you to put a mark where your dog was immediately before you saw Miss Singleton and her dog.
Before, thank you. You're not going to be able to see.
Okay, great.
Defendant Kevin marks the photo. Bailiff Kevin brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Great. So your dog, according to you, was right next to you, about 30 feet away from where Miss Singleton was when you saw her.
To be honest with you,
dog.
he kind of moves around the yard. He doesn't sit still very much, so.
Well, you understand, Mr. Free, that even if your dog is on your property, you're supposed to maintain control of your dog all the time.
And which I
You
do.
understand that?
Yes, I do.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So if your dog is able to run 30 feet without being connected to you.
He didn't run.
Just walk, cha-cha, tap dance, pirouetted. However he got there, your dog got 30 feet away from where you were.
Correct.
Your 80-pound dog.
Defendant Kevin nods. Caption coming up.
Ultimately, her case comes down to she was walking her leashed dog. I haven't figured out whose fault it is yet. She was walking her leashed dog, and your dog ran, walked, pirouetted, cha-cha, whatever it did, to her dog out of your control.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Christine and defendant Kevin.
Christine Singleton claims dog owner Kevin Free owes for vet bills from a dog fight.
Now, Miss Singleton was walking with her other dog and a 3-year-old. I want you to process that into your mind. And this is a 12-month-old, which is still a puppy. You know, still a puppy, but at 80 pounds...
Your Honor, there was no 3-year-old. I didn't see a 3-year-old.
Just a second.
Okay.
I don't care what you saw while you were busy putting together something for Christmas in your front yard. If you didn't see it, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If you didn't see it, it just means you didn't see it. She tells me she sees it. She remembers walking her 2 dogs. You only remember 1. She has 2 that she was walking at 12:30 Christmas Day. The fact that you only saw 1 means you weren't paying attention to where your dog was.
Or they wasn't there.
Well, that's pretty stupid, Mr. Free.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to carry 2 dogs and an infant down a neighborhood you don't even belong in? I mean, you don't know from?
Mr. Free, they're only going to take 1 voice.
I understand.
They're only going to take 1 voice, and that's mine. Let me tell you why your argument is stupid. Because it doesn't make any difference whether she was walking 2 dogs or 4 dogs or 8 dogs. It doesn't make any difference whether she was walking with or without a 3-year-old. Ultimately, her case comes down to she was walking her leashed dog. I haven't figured out whose fault it is yet. She was walking her leashed dog, and your dog ran, walked, pirouetted, cha-cha, whatever it did, to her dog out of your control. Was not under your control because it was not leashed. Do you understand?
I understand.
Now, I can take away everything else. Not that I'm going to, because I believe that you were distracted, you didn't see it, and I believed her that she was walking with her 3-year-old nephew.
Yes, ma'am.
Nephew and another dog that you didn't see. But that's not the issue in this case, whether she was with another dog, another child, or with anybody else. The issue is, whose fault is it that a dog was out of control? So, now you're going to tell me what happened at 12:30 on Christmas Day, just so that Mr. Free doesn't think that I'm picking on him.
Okay.
Which I'm not.
Okay, I know.
You may think I am, but I'm not picking on him. You're walking with your husky.
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
I was walking with my nephew, 3 years old.
No, don't just listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully.
Okay, just walk down the street.
I said you're walking. I got it in my mind.
Okay.
But so Mr. Free doesn't think that I'm being unfair to him, because he doesn't remember what he saw. You're walking your husky.
Okay, only him.
On the street. So your nephew didn't get hurt. Your rat terrier didn't get hurt.
That's correct.
Okay, so now you're walking your husky on the street, and?
Okay, and then all of a sudden we see a dog charging towards us. And
Who's we?
Oh, I called me, my nephew, and my dog's we.
No, now it's just I saw.
I saw a dog charging towards us. That dog and Leon got into an altercation, and then Leon turned around to try and kick the dog in the face, and he grabbed his foot and he let go.
Okay,
but then
let's go much slower.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You saw a dog charging towards you.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
And that dog got into an altercation with my
your dog. Yes. Tell me about that initial altercation.
At first, they were biting each other's muzzles.
Okay, so they were both biting each other's muzzles?
Yes.
Okay.
My dog turned around to try and, I guess...
No, don't tell me what he was trying to do. Your dog turned around.
He kicked the dog in the face.
Your dog kicked his dog in the face?
Yes. He grabbed his leg, punctured it, let it go. Leon kicked him again. This time he grabbed his other leg.
Okay, so your dog kicked that dog again?
Twice, yes.
His dog again?
Yes, ma'am.
And?
That dog that time grabbed his leg, had a good hold, and shook it immediately. And then that's when I knew his leg was broken.
No, don't show me pictures.
Okay.
First I have to find whose fault it is before I look at pictures and vet bills.
Okay.
Okay, now, when you saw his dog charging towards you, and your dog's name is Leon?
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash?
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash. But it's a big dog?
Yes, ma'am.
How much does it weigh?
Leon, 75 pounds.
So about the same as the defendant's dog?
Yes.
And it's a senior dog?
Yes, that is correct.
Has your dog ever had a history with another dog? I'm going to say it again. Has your dog ever had a history of an altercation with another dog?
No, ma'am.
Has your dog ever had a history of an altercation with another person?
No, ma'am.
And I assume if I asked you those questions, you would give me what answer, sir?
I would say no.
You would say no because?
Because my dog has never had any problems with any dogs.
With any dog?
Any dogs, person.
Any other person?
Correct.
So you would acknowledge, Miss Singleton, that I'm going to show you this photograph of Mr. Free's house. And what I'd like you to do is show me where, according to you, let's get her a different color pen. Do we have a different, well, we have, that's
This is blue.
Okay. I'd like you to make a P, to just put a P where the dogs first made contact.
Bailiff Kevin brings the photo and a pen to Christine.
Okay. It's not on this photo.
Is it on this photo? Do you have a photo?
I do have a photo.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Would you please make
This is his home, and this is where it happened, right underneath the tree.
Put a P there.
Christine marks a photo, then hands it to Bailiff Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Oh, so what you're saying is, where you put the P, that the dog was in the street?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Were you in the street?
I sure was.
I would like you to put a D in this picture where you say, did you see Mr. Free?
I did not until he came and retrieved his animal.
Did you see where he came from?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you see anything being assembled in the yard?
Once we were leaving, yes.
And what did you see?
A basketball goal.
A basketball goal?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that what you were putting together, Mr. Free?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you show me where that was, please?
Bailiff Kevin brings a photo to Christine, who makes a mark on it. Bailiff Kevin then returns the photo to Judy.
Okay.
Judy reviews the photo.
It was here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Mr. Free, you're putting something together. The first thing you hear is a kerfuffle, some sort of a...
No.
What do you hear?
Caption, coming up.
Dogs are animals. They're not as smart as you are. But when your dog charged out into the street, it could just as easily have gotten hit by a car. That would have been your fault. Your dog was out in a public street outside of your control, and it's a big dog, and you should be more careful.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Christine and defendant Kevin.
Christine Singleton claims dog owner Kevin Free is responsible for injuries after his dog attacked her dog.
No, I saw my dog run across the yard. So.
And you saw the dog running across the yard.
Well, normally I really don't have a problem with him.
Let me explain something to you.
Yeah. Okay.
My job that I'm really good at is telling when people are peeing on my leg and trying to tell me it's raining.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, I could tell immediately from your body language that you were beginning to tell me a whole bunch of who shot John. So I suggest to you, Mr. Free, that if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Now, I want to explain to you why that's so important. Did you hear Miss Singleton? Miss Singleton actually said that her dog nipped yours in the face.
Correct.
She said that.
Correct.
She didn't have to tell me that. She said her dog not only nipped your dog in the face because they were fighting muzzle to muzzle, but afterwards kicked your dog twice. Do you understand? That's what she said.
I heard that, yeah.
That's what she said about that. That's sort of, that's sort of surprising. That would seem to someone.
It surprises me that dogs can
What?
get up on their front legs and kick, too. So I don't know what she's saying to you, but I don't know. I didn't see any kicking.
Listen to.
The fight lasted like 3 seconds. It wasn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you understand when you're not telling the truth, Mr. Free?
Well, I think what you read from me is me responding to a whole bunch of stuff that was said that didn't.
No, what me responding to you is your body English. That's me responding to you because you were putting together this thing, but you said it was here.
Correct. It was in the driveway. It's pretty big.
Well, this isn't a driveway, sir. That's grass. That's what you marked where you were. And you marked where your dog was in the grass.
You asked me where I was.
Just a second.
Not the basketball goal.
No, I asked you where you were.
Yeah,
and you
and
said
that's where
here.
I'm
And then you just said to me, please read it back. Where were you? And you said, I believe he said he was in the driveway.
Correct. It was in the driveway.
I apologize. Excuse me.
Just a second. Driveway.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I do.
Eventually, it noodles its way out, sir. The same way it noodles its way out to, my memory is correct, in your answer you wrote down, you saw them for the first time in the street.
On the, what we call a curb. It's a small slope that comes up from down. Not all the way in the street, no.
No. Here, you see what happens, Mr. Free?
Yeah.
What you just said to me belies credulity.
Well, I'm trying to be as
just a
precise
second,
as I
but
can.
not
Excuse me.
because, you know, I've lived on this planet almost 80 years. And if I have a choice between walking in the street and walking in that little dip that's designed to take rainwater away, I don't walk in that thing because I'll get killed. I'll break my legs. And you certainly don't walk in this little thing if you're walking two dogs and a child. You don't walk in that little drain that's carved out here to take rainwater away. You walk either on the grass, on everybody's grass,
correct,
or you walk in the street.
Makes sense.
And you, sir, would have me believe that the plaintiff walked all the way around the block, walking on people's grass. Other than that, she would have to be in the street and decide, well, I think I'm going to go up on the grass in this guy's
I wouldn't
house.
say that.
What?
Sometimes it's unavoidable, so I'm not saying that at all.
Sir, I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
You're going to pay her vet bills. Your dog was out of your control and was in the street, not on your grass. In the street. You had no control over your dog, an 80-pound puppy. Now, the dog could have, just playfully, knocked over the 3-year-old and hurt the 3-year-old. Could have. Didn't. Got into a scuffle with a dog approximately the same size. Her dog was leashed, within her control. Your dog, you had to run from where you were putting this together and come and get your dog.
Your Honor,
That's what you say.
A dog under control doesn't manage to do 2 jump kicks and a bite.
Sir. No, just a second, sir. You can do that if you're on a leash. Her dog never left her hand.
Your Honor, the injuries was to the hind feet of the dog.
This isn't, Mr. Free, this is,
okay.
Maybe your wife lets you get away with that, sir. I don't. This is not a tap dance. This is not a recital or a rehearsal. You made a picture of where you said this happened. Yeah. I don't believe you. That's what it's about. I believe that this occurred on a public street, and on the public street, you had no control of your dog. You decided to let your dog stay outside. You haven't had any trouble with your dog before, so you wouldn't have anticipated that your dog would run out into the street, because if your dog ran out into the street and a car hit it and killed it, whose fault would that be?
That would definitely be mine.
That would definitely be yours, right? Do you think that you might sue the person who hit your dog? You might try. You might try. You might say, oh, my God, they should have been going slower. Oh, my God. Do you understand? You're the owner. Dogs are animals. They're not as smart as you are. But when your dog charged out into the street, it could just as easily have gotten hit by a car. That would have been your fault. But under those circumstances, you would have said it's the car's fault. Your dog was out in a public street outside of your control, and it's a big dog, and you should be more careful. If you want to keep your dog outside while you're putting something together and keep the dog on your property, put down a stake, put the dog on a lead, and let the dog stay outside with you. But if you let a 12-month-old, 80-pound dog run loose and it runs into the street, you, sir, are responsible for the consequences. What was your vet bill?
It was $1,832.64.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I don't think that I was 100% responsible.
I'm glad it was swift and easy, honestly.
From my perspective, it lasted for about 3 seconds.
I was trying to fight with this man for a while. I'm glad it's over.
It might have happened in that 3 seconds, but it was too fast for my eyes.
Honestly, it was kind of traumatizing, especially since I had a 3-year-old with me and I had to quickly think and just pick him up before the dog got him.
I think they just fought and my dog won.
Bring the Judy justice, baby.
I watched.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe to Knowledge Authority. Until next time, stay curious and keep watching. Stay tuned for more exciting content.